just fine every time. Battery's good. It's cold out here today, so it's a little slower getting started than usual. 135,000 miles. It's a former government vehicle, so it just wasn't driven a lot. The ABS light is on because I swapped the rear axle, which was a Dana 35 with ABS, to a Chrysler 8 1/4, so it does not have ABS sensors, and so the light's always on. And then the airbag light is on. Haven't diagnosed that. That's usually the clock spring in the steering wheel. I just have never replaced that. So oil pressure is great. Even in the hottest days, it is right where it needs to be with 20 at idle, 20 or 25 at idle. I replaced the oil pressure sensor with OEM Jeep stuff. A lot of times people use the cheap Chinese ones and they get bad readings. Yeah, the inside, again, government spec, so it has it doesn't have carpets, which is really nice for 4x4ing. They get dusty, but you can clean them out. A little bit of water in a shop vac, they clean up pretty good. Has a new Kenwood with Bluetooth. Nothing special, but it works. Back seats barely used. I take my family out in it. Again, vinyl, so they look a little dusty, but they come clean, which is great. Let's see what else. Driver's seat, little bit of a tear starting, and the cushion's a little smushed on one side, but otherwise in pretty good shape for one of these old Jeeps. Back seat, so like I say, in good shape, a little dusty. Then I've got a Smitty built rear bumper. This thing's really heavy, but it's a good option for getting your spare out of the trunk. Let's see, I've got 31-inch BFGs. I bought these when I bought the Jeep. They've got about 15,000 miles on them. They're on basic steel wheels, which I like because they take a beating and they hold up just fine. Let's see, coming around, I have an affordable off-road bumper on here. These come unpainted. It could use a little bit of a repaint. It's got some rock chips on it. I'm going to keep the winch, so that won't be included. The flares are a little beat up. In fact, I think one on the back side is coming off. That was like that when I got it, and I've just never fixed it. It doesn't bother me. I use this as a trail rig. Underneath, I have a Rubicon Express 4.5-inch Superflex lift. It's a short arm lift. Comes with leaves. I got a gas tank skid, which a lot of these don't have. I would recommend having one. Never hit it, but that gas tank hangs down low. New exhaust I put on last year. It's just a stock replacement. The paint's in pretty good shape. It was outside a lot as a government vehicle, so there's not a lot of clear coat, but it's holding up. A few little dings from where I've had it four-wheeling. This was definitely used off-road, but they took really good care of it too. No rust really on the undercarriage. You see everything under here, pretty good shape. Get a little, like the transfer case seal, could probably use a replacement. It gets wet, but it doesn't drip. It's got a slip yoke as well on the transfer case. So slip yoke eliminator, and then it has a stock front drive shaft as the rear, which is nice. Let's see. Pinion seal's a little bit wet. I have the replacement. I just haven't done it, but it doesn't drip or anything. Let's see, short arm lift. These are basically Rubicon Express branded 5100s from Bilstein, so those are good. I've got Spartan lockers front and rear, which is great. These are just 31-inch BFGs, but with the lockers front and rear, this thing is a beast off-road. And sticking with 31s, I didn't have to cut the fenders, which is nice. And it doesn't need a re-gear because the 31s can still go up I-70, no problem. Other side over here too. Whatever little red there is, that's just Moab dust. Exhaust is in pretty good shape. You can see where I've hit it a few times. Underneath's pretty clean. I really haven't bottomed this thing out that much. I 4x4 by myself a lot, so I don't go crazy because I gotta drive it home. It has, on the steering end of things, put a lot of money into that. So again, it's got a skid plate in the front. For steering, this is a JCR steering kit. Last year I replaced the steering box with a, I believe it's called Redhead steering. It's a brand new box. It's great. It's about $500. It also has a new power steering pump. So, you know, the steering on these things, particularly high mileage ones, can be pretty ratty. So I wanted to make that as nice as possible. Like I drive my family in this. My extended family drives it when they come into town. All right, here's the engine. Like I said, kind of dusty from Moab. New power steering pump. Compressor I replaced right after I bought it. It's not working now though. I think there must be a leak in the system somewhere. It doesn't turn on, which means that the low pressure sensor has probably been picked up. Battery's a little crusty, but it works just fine. No leaks. I did basically did everything on this after I bought it. It's got felt, and I use Fel-Pro for everything, so valve cover's good. New air filter. One thing that's nice is these government vehicles, they do actually get maintained, so people had, you know, written things on there. New belts. And it had blanking on the name, but the seal between the engine and the transmission, as well as the oil pan gasket, all replaced by myself as well. So basically this is a pretty simple Jeep. A lot of basic bolt-ons. It's been well cared for. It's a little beat up around the edges, but you know, I bought it for cheap, but I wanted it to be reliable, so I built it to be a very reliable trail rig. I don't ever buy cheap parts for it. Like I say, I drive it to and from the trail, go by myself a lot. The only reason I'm getting rid of it is I bought a Gladiator, and it doesn't really fit the family anymore.